So your segment would be like rent control in New York City. That's what you want to talk about? Or
I
you
mean,
want to talk about rent control on Burner 7?
yeah, I
Okay.
want to talk about rent control on Planet Prime. Do you know what I mean? Like, ideally,
Okay.
in my mind, like, these things coalesce there, right? Like, Mike Allen talking about the accountants or whatever, at a certain point, is like the reinforcement of like this account. Like, I've listened to that a fair bit, right? And like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the accountant to talk itself isn't of any value, but when I look back and I'm like,
Sure, sure, sure,
it
sure.
gave me a chance, it gave us a chance to talk about like this bullshit Hollywood content loop, right? That's like, oh, it's
Of
just two
course,
guys
yeah.
and they're on it, right? And that is
No, I agree.
incredibly relevant to what the podcast is, I
No,
think.
no, I agree, but like my only point is like I think there's that kind of I think that there's a version of the podcast if we like take that like generous reading because which I think is good. Like I think Mike Allen brings up good points. I'm not here to like just shit talk him. I'm just here a little bit to do it. No, I think like if we take that point, then we can be talking about like the themes of the economy of nothing, and I mean that as like the merch on your hat and the show and the pod and like
Yes.
your brain
This is
like
the
your political
economy.
economic theory.
This is the economy of nothing podcast. This isn't the economy of nothing, the animated series podcast, right? Like, like the reason we are doing
Sure, but
this
if we just want to
podcast.
shoot the shit about socialism, then I'm down to do
Yeah,
it.
but I
You know
mean,
what I
if
mean?
like we can talk about it right now, right? Like the economy of nothing was a book I was going to write, and I didn't want to write the book, partially because I didn't want to write a book, but also,
Okay.
but
Thank you for
also
being honest for our
because I was like, who's
readers.
going to read a book by a guy that's never written a book before, right? I don't know
People
anything
do
about.
do
I
that, but
could,
keep going.
but like also I couldn't stand there and be like, this is a great book because I don't know enough about books, right? But like I'm going to be able to say that this is a great TV show because I know enough about TV shows and I'm good enough at doing this, right?
I do think your skills are more applicable in the video format than in a written format.
Yes,
That's not shade.
and so then no, I it is I can't. I'm just like, can I just show you a picture and talk about it? Why am I
I mean,
writing it
you've
down?
worked in video for whatever 15 years,
Yeah.
not
Right.
editing.
And so then of course it becomes
Whatever.
like, so that's where the economy of nothing, the book, met this script I was working on about this guy who's in the future or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, well, no one will read my book and no one will read my script. So what if I made a TV show? I was like, well, no one will listen to my pitch for a TV show. So this podcast is me pitching this TV show every week for an hour and a half or so, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like it's not always going to be coherent and it's not always going to be great. But what this podcast is doing is making the real pitch for the show, which is the website. And if we like, again, I've said it multiple times, but we can always focus back. It's the last time you and me were just on the podcast. I want to get the theme song up to like a production quality level where it's better, right? So that part of that is getting locations and characters and stuff that can fill it, right? So that it's not just the same shots over
Yeah.
and over again from the same scenes, right? So part of that is me, the work I have to do in like building this up, and part of it is us like coming up with characters and stuff they would do, right? Like now I know Cheyenne and her rangers and stuff like will be in it, right? But I don't have them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a model of her like babushka ship yet or whatever. Not her babushka, her mamushka. What is it?
Babushka. Yeah, you're right, babushka.
No, that's not what a
Oh,
babushka.
babushka. Babushka means
Oh,
grandma. Matroshka is the
matroshka.
doll. Yeah,
Okay, I
sorry.
thought a babushka was.
Babushka.
I
Well,
thought that was that
babushka
little
was
baby
is a
thing.
Russian word, so I was just
Yeah, I
like,
think a
yeah, that's
babushka's the
right.
little when they wrap the little babies up really tight and like swaddle them to them. That's a babushka, I think, or it's
Yeah,
something
I
else.
think so. Matroshka
Uh,
is like the actual doll, I'm almost sure.
yeah, right.
But I
So
think
like
that they're kind of called babushkas too. I don't know
yeah,
why.
so
Whatever,
so
keep
par-
going.
so to that point, part of the reason
I also have so many ideas about that. Keep
I
going.
want to get up. I've been going back to the dispatch, and now I'm talking about like, oh well, can we get like maybe one of these segments set there, right? Is like again, a lot of these are like characters are like 2D animations. They're not there yet, and I just need we need to start working on them, right? And the other part of this being a podcast and it being the YouTube and why it's public is I'd like people's opinions, right? Like economy of nothing at gmail.com.
That
Right.
is a hot take. Keep going.
Yeah, no, no,
Go
no.
ahead,
Like
Mike.
I'm not I'm not saying I'm going to respect them, but like, but I want them. Do you know what I mean?
Iconic.
Like,
Okay, iconic.
well, again, part of the thing is, since, and it's another thing where it's like, I'd like to have a structure for the show because that would make producing the show easier.
I
But
agree. That's what I've been advocating for, but
but at,
we rejected it.
but
That
but
concept.
but at the but at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to end up talking with everyone about the economy of nothing anyway. It's
I
just what
know.
I end up doing. So I might as well set some time aside to do it where like it doesn't matter what we can talk about because I can make anything, I can bring anything back because the economy of nothing, the economic theory is everywhere. And it's like, what's happening now, man? Like,
Sure.
I mean, sorry, in the distant future, right? Like,
Yeah.
um,
That makes sense. I think what I would like to see for next week is us to have I think this like timeline of the podcast would be helpful. Like I have it split into 8 15-minute increments, but like whatever. It can be an hour and a half if you want. It can be shorter. I think if we have segments that we have listed out, it would give us a structure to the pod, which I think is like lacking because we
That's
just
what
kind of talk,
so
you know?
like I think that's why I think we should okay, so what I'm gonna make Mike Allen do and what I'm gonna do
Uh-huh.
and what you're gonna do.
Is fill out this lines 15 through
No,
19.
just
I
come up
agree.
with 2 segment ideas and we'll pitch them on the show next week.
Like,
And those will be the segments.
I literally made this point. Okay, viewers, hopefully this is the part that gets chunked out and thrown to the front. I said this conversation should just be had next week with Mike Allen when he's back from being Father of the Year, because that's exactly what we need to do is just like have homework and then assign ourselves topics. But I do think that this has been helpful for my own personal knowledge. I won't lie.
Well, that's good. I hope it's been helpful to the listeners. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Economy of Nothing podcast. Who's driving the truck? We don't know. Mike Allen's not here. He's being the dad of the year. But joining me, I'm Mike Bedont. I should have said that up top. Look, you off to a great start. But joining me is Ryan. Hey Ryan, how we doing? How bad was that intro? Pretty bad?
Ryan, no last name. It was pretty good, actually. I mean, it's not as good as Mike Allen. You don't have like the same verve, the same zest for life in a sense, but it was good. It was good.
Well, Mike Allen really has the gumption to go for it, to get after it. You know what I mean? I'm more here to bring you the straight news you're looking for. You know what I mean? I'm saying tonight
Yes.
we have
yes,
five
yes.
stories. 2 of them we're gonna act like are really serious, but then don't worry, not serious enough that we're not gonna go to a commercial, then talk about some random thing. And then there's a fun story about a
Yes.
woman who has squirrels in her backyard. You know?
I feel like you're more of like the weatherman who has just said a joke and now needs to proceed with the weather. So like after that, that's your vibe moving forward. That's like your starting point. And Mike Allen is more like a salesman for what like
Mike Allen's
hey
Yeah, Mike Allen's
whatever
ready
it's
to
called.
move on. Mike Allen's ready to move on to the next thing, and I am constantly wallowing in my most recent failure. I think is that
Okay.
is that fair to say?
I didn't know you had to put such emotion behind it. I'm not sure if that's how I would describe it, but I would say like I would just say like weatherman after his joke.
I am
Whereas like
always
Mike Allen is auctioning a used and defunct storage unit.
I am always post joke. Like I've always just made a joke like a second before, like
Yeah,
so maybe that's where
that's
that vibe
true.
comes from. And also, I'm usually wrong, which I think also gives me a lot of kinship with my meteorological brothers, as they might say.
That's a unique bit of humility from you that I suspect
Well,
will be
I am the
short-lived.
most humble man in the world, as I've said many times. But
Classic.
Ryan, if someone was here and they were going, what is the Economy of Nothing podcast? What are you guys doing here? I'd love to know more. This first couple minutes has been the greatest thing that's ever happened. I mean, obviously, you found us through a podcast service of your choosing, or perhaps on YouTube, or perhaps you just typed in Economy of Nothing because you looked around and said,
where can I get that hat?
What's going on? But Ryan, last week,
Yep.
we had some conversations about what this podcast is going to be, and Mike Allen had some real strong ideas, and then he fucked off. But I know that you have some ideas based on his ideas, and he's a jerk and doesn't let you talk, right? We agree on all these fundamental things.
You know, actually, it's crazy you say this because I actually think that we were interrupting the shit out of him last week. It was crazy. Listening back through it, I was like he was just trying to talk about The Accountant too, which is a mistake, as we've all come to agree. Like, there was nothing, like, talking about the film from the jump, from the offset, is an error. But he was trying to get through it, and you and I kept being like, let's quit. Let's throw in a quip. Or, like, just comment. It was crazy. We needed to go on mute. Which I eventually did.
But, like, see, here's the thing, though. I think that there is some... And it is a thing that me and Mike Allen have talked about. Is there is a place, like, someone has to be the audience. Like, often it'll be you and me going into, like, weird esoteric tangents or whatever. And Mike Allen has to come in and be like, this is boring. But, like, we all need to have that... We all need to be surrogates for the audience, right? Because they can't tell us in the moment that they're bored with our conversation, right?
Totally.
This is we're in the planning room right now. Okay.
Yes.
It says
really
no Mike
useful.
Allen around. Okay.
Well, okay, so I said that us meeting was pointless because Mike Allen is not here, and I think that, like, we'll just have to have a different version of this conversation again, which is fine, because I think that my thesis, if I can make it more succinct from last week's, is that the podcast is, like, meandering, not in a way that's bad, because, like, podcasts meander, that's kind of their zhuzh, but I think that, like, there's the show, which we are trying to make, aka you are trying to make, and, like, right? And then there's the podcast, and I think that these are two separate entities, but they're both about the same subject matter, right? It's like if a PhD candidate had a thesis that they were working on, but then also just, like, shot the shit with their friends on the weekend. It was like, oh my gosh, let me talk all about my thesis. And the podcast was, like, about whatever, their socioeconomic theory. And it's sort of, like, these things are interrelated, I mean, but they're not feeding into each other as dynamically as I would want, or directly even, you know? So what I want from us is to go over, like, literally what we spend time on in the podcast and what we spend time on in the show, because time is a very helpful constraint.
I think so too, and I have some big picture thoughts on time.
Great. As you saw in this document,
yes,
viewers will not see it yet, but as you are aware of
viewers might see it. Listeners won't. But
listeners will not see it. But I've written Act 1, 2, and 3 as categories, so I don't really. I don't need to be super specific. But keep going.
Yeah, and I think part of what visual radio is going to help us do with this, and this is how it does visual radio. The visual radio version of this podcast links directly to the show, regardless of what we talk about, because it gives me stuff to work on, right? And even if the podcast, even if it is just talking about The Accountant too, that gives me an opportunity to get in there with the programs I'm using and with different stuff and, like, try ideas, right? And so my thought process is, if we can allow the conversations to meander, but they need, like, if we think about the segments as, like, visual radio bits to be done, all of a sudden that, like, at least grounds us in a place, right? Like for example, right, there's some stuff that I'm like, this should be one of the car conversations, right? And there's some stuff that, like, should be in the studio. And then and we talked before about, and this was one I was trying to break this week, and it's what I want to talk about right now, and I think it'll help with this segment bit, is, like, we had talked a bit last week about a Cheyenne segment, right? Where if you want to bring something, it's Cheyenne doing something.
Of the podcast, you mean?
Yeah.
And that would be, like, inserted into the show.
Yes, right? Like
Okay.
Mike Allen talks about whatever he
Yeah.
watched. You talk about what you want to do. We have other whatever the segments are, and one of them is, Cheyenne soapbox or whatever we decide it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and that will have its own. When we cut to that, it'll be us in the studio. Like we'll have us in the car doing a segment. Then it'll come back to us in the studio as we banter away from that segment into the next segment, and then that segment's cut. Since it's your thing, you'll probably be talking the most. I was thinking this is a great time to set. Maybe it's on the bridge of Cheyenne's ship. Maybe it's at the Nothing Corporation. But if we can centralize it as a thing, I think that'll work. And I'll stop talking right now because I know that was a lot of stuff. But but it's an audio podcast, so I'll never stop talking. But it looks like you might have a question or not.
I think that ultimately, like, the greatest pinnacle of how we could spend our time is literally making an episode of the show. That will not be done on the podcast because that is not podcast like ready, right? I thought of like commercials a la WandaVision for like pieces of products or services that the Nothing Corporation is trying to sell.
I want that rhythm so that we can then play around and break it. I assume this isn't going to be on Sundays on Fox, right? They're too busy putting dog shit on.
Let's say it's just a YouTube video,
So,
and I'm saying that video is 22 minutes long. And you can make it any amount of time. I don't care the amount of time. Because let's just like be honest with ourselves and each other. 22 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter. Because we need to talk about the content that exists on the screen and how much time is being taken up. I don't fucking care. It runs for X amount of minutes. What happens in those minutes? I do think this is like a point of contention we need to just iron out because it contextualizes the entire point of the podcast, in my opinion.
Oh my God,
Okay.
There's a standoff. Exciting act break. We come back with the resolution of the standoff. They don't go back to the dispatch at the end of episodes, in my opinion. If that's one of these like fundamental questions.
The part I like is that, as I said, like as you can see, because you're in the document that I'm in, right? You can
Yes,
see
I can
it.
see it.
Okay, cool.
They get in the ship. They fly to the planet. They have the initial meeting on the planet. They run into trouble. They overcome the trouble.
First encounter is like Act 1, right? Like trouble arises Act 2, resolution Act 3, right?
Okay. Everyone's models that we build for this, right? Like some of it's going to be like bad 2D drawing. Some of it's going to be the versions of 3D models I have, right? And at a certain point, everything, while we're working all this stuff out, I'm getting everything up to show level. Like the point of the podcast, the point of all of this is we can't make an episode tomorrow because we don't have any money. Because not only is the anime version of Ryan like an interesting new like trial of a way I'm trying to draw something different or whatever, is the thing you're not understanding is like that those hours are being done now. And what the podcast is doing in actuality is buying time. We were never going to be able to write, like no one was going to be able to write a script on a podcast. It's never something that was going to happen. I've started building like an original looking saloon for the Brenner Seven Town.
My point is like, let's say an episode takes 1,000 hours of work. We meet in the podcast over the course of a month or 2 months, 3 months. We meet for a podcast, that's going to be like 10 hours of those 1,000 hours.
We're doing a thing that no one has ever done before. I could write the script tomorrow if all the assets were ready.
We'll do fucking anything we want. We're going to have some cute character interaction, very small, just like the opening of a show where some characters are interacting in the office or in the parking lot, and they're going to, it's like going to be funny.
Like what we're trying to do,
Mike,
is develop a show the best way we can. And so every time we turn around and look at the way other people did, it's like, yeah, but we're not doing it like them. The problem
arrive
is
on a
never.
planet.
The problem's never. I mean, theoretically, it could be a space station.
Yeah, okay.
Like they arrive at the location of the job.
They
assess the situation. The situation is never the simple situation as it's initially presented. Like if everyone's interests, it's everyone's personal interests that have created this situation. I don't know because my head's too in the pilot, right? Because I'm like in the pilot maybe we want to introduce the captain with some action, right? In like the first minute. Law and Order is the most procedural. I love Law and Order. Yeah.
Law and Order, crime, like literally, but like if you look at my assessment of things, which I described earlier to people, I have like a cold open, theme song, Act 1, commercial, Act 2, commercial, Act 3, commercial. Law and Order is exactly what I'm talking about. Find the body, dun dun, Act 1, police, commercial, the police and the lawyers start working together, commercial. Act 3 is like they're in the courtroom, justice is served or not served, and there's like little dramas going on with the police during like that Act 3.
Law and Order is like the example of like the perfect like procedural show, right?
Just to be clear, when I first thought of the show, I thought of Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 being unbroken, right? But then when we started the podcast, I'm thinking now, like, what is the point of this podcast? I'm talking about, like, oh, let's make a commercial for, like, a drone that tracks people that are poor, right? But my point is, like, that's something that this, like, a drone that stalks poor people is a fun thing that we can talk about on the pod that's, like, actually useful if we want the podcast to be meaningful to the show. Rather than us just being, like, shooting the shit about, like, oh, well, when they go into Draconaria, like, should it be a bug guy or should it be, like, should the bug be an ant or should it be a bat? And it's like, I don't know. And if we're having fun on a Wednesday, that's totally fine. But I think that, like, fun on a Wednesday will be, the year will be 2028, and we'll be like, okay, but, like, seriously, an episode 2 on Draconaria, imagine what it could look like.
I think it's intimidating to people to see a video that long. I can see a world where, like, Mike Allen watches a thing or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
Is like a thing, is like a bit that we just put out on its own as a video because, like, we figured out, it's like, oh man, it's like we're sitting in a movie theater. And I don't know. I don't actually have a good idea for that one, right? So like, I would love to start doing more stuff with Cheyenne so that I can really get her character down in a look and then try and 3D-ize her, right? But I need to have the 2D version down better. And I think kind of the only way to do that is to start seeing it in motion and start like really like getting in with it. What you have to understand is like all the parts of the Buffalo Man, right? Like there are, making television shows isn't just J.J. Abrams and Tony Gilroy having an idea or whatever.
Let's do stuff on the pod and see what comes up that might help. Might be helpful later. But it's it's not like meant to be inserted into a particular episode.
Yeah. So if 30 minutes of this is just us bullshitting for a little bit, that's, you know what I mean? Like I'm putting so many hours into this every week doing so much crap that like there can't be nothing for me to get out of this, right? Like if nothing else,
no, that's what I mean, Mike.
If it's nothing else, it's reps. Do you know what I mean? Right? And we're recording it and I'm making stuff and putting it out so it feels like we're in production. We are not in production of the economy of nothing. We're not going to be able to make a run of show of a television show without being able to make the run of show of a podcast. That like, not whatever, but like if people want to hear every little bit of something we have to say, right? Go to Patreon if you really like the show that much. One of the things we do have is the time, because worst case scenario, we're just friends shooting the shit.
I don't fucking care.
I mean, I've said it before, right? If I wrote all the scripts, what could I do with them anyway?
Yeah.
And the idea that would stick in someone's head, just like if them reading it all, as opposed to like it being conversations I'm having with people and like visuals I'm showing to people and like really helping people like see the kind of things I'm doing in my head.
Here's what I'll say. I think currently that this sounds like a really thoughtful way of making a podcast. I don't know if it's a thoughtful way of making a show. I think that if you have a document somewhere, I think that it would be useful because as much as we talk about themes and protagonists and planets and dynamics and character arcs, whatever, right?
Episodes, 22
There's 22
minutes.
episodes and they're 22 minutes long.
Yeah.
Okay, or are they 27 minutes now? Last
22
week
episodes, 22 minutes.
Okay, let's open up theeconomyofnothing.com. Everyone, listeners as well, go to theeconomyofnothing.com.co.uk and find the spreadsheet tab that has a minute-by-minute breakdown.
Boring man in the world. Yes.
And the thing I'm bringing by this minute by minute breakdown, even though it just says Act 1, that just means like
I'm the most
spine.
insulting thing anyone's ever said. But continue.
I love an AI blender, right?
There's
And
no AI. I just think that like everything you're saying, I'm like, except for the parts I disagree with, but like the general gist of what you're saying is like, yeah, Ryan,
Yeah.
that's what's happening and it's working. The thing that you should know,
maybe I went off by myself to make a new podcast.
it's possible. Good luck. It's hard.
Okay.
Right? I want
Yeah.
like 6 segments that we spend somewhere between 10 to
15
20
minutes apiece
on.
on. Dystopian commercial.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, so can this dystopian commercial star Cheyenne?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think she can like be the face of these commercials. Also,
Okay.
I think, for example, that Cheyenne has been chosen or selected or has volunteered for money, right? Has been paid, like to be the like AI spokesperson of the Nothing Corporation. They're like, "Oh, you're Employee of the Year, and we're gonna use your face or whatever." And
God.
if a company thinks that you've stolen from them, they can turn off your legs like a shopping cart as you walk into your car.
But she
Or
would've-
if we
she
want to
would've-
make her the villain, she can.
But she
But,
would have
like-
been happy initially that she was the face, right?
You're the bitch whose face I see when you're like selling me a chip that's going to disable my kid's legs in a parking lot. The dystopia to be banal.
Have
That
you
it
ever
means nothing
seen-
until you find that like she's the one that's like your curfew is at 8. Like I'm the leader of District 12, Hunger Games style. You know, she's like, wait, what the
This'll
fuck is going?
It's like, wait, you're saying it's still only 99 cents, and another one's for like,
Mm-hmm.
like Swisher Sweets, but it's like Swisher Sweets because you're gonna roll joints or whatever. It's
I
like the
think
third Twix.
that like, I think that yeah, he's the middle Twix.
He's
and
the
I'm
middle
left
Twix.
one, and you're the right one. That's fine. Like I want
Yeah.
us to make a commercial in the podcast to come up with a good idea that we riff on and we improv and is funny and fun, and then we iterate on it and it goes in episode 17. My version of the show, of the podcast, my version of this podcast is like generating content for the show. Yeah, I think it's good. I think that our like, you know, I don't want to say that it's a comfort because it's always like would you rub your hand against sandpaper for fun? You know what I mean? But like it is there's a certain certainty that like you and I will just we will merely disagree. And there's something that it's perennial, it's vibrant.
I know. I don't know
It's
why
alive.
you're so disagreeable.
We would just remain in disagreement.
Do you want this truncated out to the front as well?
Absolutely. The
Should
part where
you
I
be-
said sandpaper against your balls. That's the feeling.
Oh, I thought you said it against
Oh.
the hand. Do you want to
Oh.
be? Do you want to be Anime Ash Ketchum while this is happening?
Maybe I should turn into
We didn't. Well,
just
okay.
flicker. You know what you should do? You should really flicker me. Like I like shake, like just not like it doesn't need to like transition, you know, but it should like like a light turning on and off, like
So I
back
can
and forth.
I built it so that they can swap in and out in place.
Exactly. It should be that.
So like
It's
when
like-
you first become anime, but I guess the entire time you were saying that, I'll just have it do it, back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were saying, so I guess
What's
it's a little
happening
homework
to
for
me?
you next week.
I already completed it, but keep going.
I don't know. Think about
Segments.
two things, 3 things. Okay,
Mhm,
listeners, also Patreon.com. Go there.
Listeners.
Go Gmail us or whatever.
Tell us what segment you want to hear.
Yeah,
And
us
tell
what
Mike how
segment-
he's wrong.
Yeah, sure. I love opinions. I love getting them. No,
He
okay.
loves getting and then rejecting them.
Well, no, the thing I want from you,
Uh-huh.
if you think about it'll be next time after you see yourself in motion and stuff. Think about
Yeah.
if there's another, other anime styles or something you might want for your character, and then 2 segments apiece. We'll each prepare 2 segments as a pitch for our segments. You know what we should do? We'll come up with a weird esoteric voting system where we all vote each other's segments off the podcast every week, and so we all have to come up with. new
Yeah,
segments
literally.
every time.
I mean, I do think that we should have like 2. We should each come up with 2 segments, and then we should just vote out the least one or like the 2 bottom ones. So
Well, so,
then
like-
some ones will still both be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like what, like
They came up with
part
the
of
best
what I
ideas.
think we can do with the podcast, and this will be here so we can discuss it, is like when I was thinking about separating out into segments, the first 15 and the last 15, or however you want to do it, right? Those should be the Patreon exclusive bits. And it should be the setup and the teardown. And that's the things that the people that most like stuff would be interested in. And also, let's at the beginning of the podcast be like, hey, do we all have our segments? Are we good? We're going to go like this. And then at the end be like, which of these did we like and stuff? We should keep that one. I liked that one. I didn't like.
Oh, okay,
like,
sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can just do that on the Patreon.
And the middle is just the
exclusive.
chunks.
Yeah, and then the middle's the chunks.
Great.
Right? And so then it's like once we feel like we've set up enough, it'll be like, okay, I'll probably grab something of that, put it at the beginning as the cold open or something, or maybe something later. Then, hey, welcome to the Economy Nothing. I'm Mike Allen. Do, right? And then he opens one of his segments, or how in the setup we can decide the order, right? Like maybe it doesn't. Yeah. So that's what I think we should have a setup.
That makes sense.
Setup and a tear down segment at the beginning and the end, and then.
We each get like 30 minutes total to talk about our stuff.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I think that would be like a useful view of it, and we can see what emerges as we go.
And also, I think the beginning,
and
especially the end, could be useful too for me, like for contextualization for like visual radio and stuff like that. Just to like be like, oh, hey, what do you? I don't have a great idea for this one thing. Let's talk about it real quick or something like that. You know what I mean? That might be something.
If you want to pitch that segment, Mike, I'm not going to help you because this is going to be Survivor-esque ditching of segments. I think we should get rid of 2 segments a week. I think that we should get rid of 2 segments a week because that means that like someone's segments will remain. And like it's possible though that one person's segments both get ditched, and that is devastating.
Okay, segment Survivor or something. Well,
segment Survivor where we pitch the idea and like you have to run that 15 minutes. And like Mike Allen will run in 15 minutes and then I'll run in 15 minutes and then like you run the next. Like we'll cycle through them because you'll have 2 segments apiece. We each do 2 segments and then like it goes for 10 to 15 minutes. Not longer than that. Otherwise we're going over like 2 hours with the intro and
yeah, and I mean, if one's rolling, we can draw. You know, it's not like the end of the world. Anyway.
It doesn't need to be that specific because you're right. That's a good caveat to include because mine are going to be so compelling and good that we're going to talk about them for a really long time, probably. So
yeah, I mean, part of the reason, like the biggest reason I want segments is so like for the editing and chaptering and stuff of like of the podcast and stuff. It's just like. When did we start talking about that? Well, we kind of meandered to it. You know what I mean? So it'd just be nice. Literally. It would be nice on a piece of paper while we're recording to just put down like hour 26, segment 2, right? You know what I mean? Like it would be a useful thing.
I think our conversations are very off the beaten track on previous pods, but like in a fun way. But
also
what podcasts are about. But like,
it will also help Mike. It'll help Mike Allen, or like as he's like.
True.
Trying to host it. Like sometimes he's like, okay, we've been going too long, and then he just doesn't. He needs to have something to transition to, right?
The
feeling we've been going for too long is probably almost always correct. But if we don't go to anything else, we might as well just stay. You know.
Yeah.
To the point of like, well, any idea is better than no idea, right?
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's a good action item for next week.
All right. Well.
Looking forward to it.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me. You are now back ahead of Mike Allen, so I'm still the king of the podcast.
No, I think I'm tied, but you're the king.
Because
I was there for the theme song episode.
The first episode. Mike Allen was not on the first episode, so you were in second place. And in the leaderboard, we haven't said the words of dispatch leaderboard in a while. And the leaderboard, I'm obviously number 1. I'm the captain. Cheyenne is number 2, and Mr. Green isn't even a captain. Why does he think he belongs on the leaderboard?
Why would he even be on the leaderboard?
I mean, it's two captains and a pilot. If we're honest.
For the record, my recollection of you pitching me this show was you were like, Mike Allen and I are definitively doing a podcast. You can come on and attend if you want. So I was like, I was telling people that I was like a guest on this podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go on one time and like, I'm a guest, I guess. And now I'm better than the queen of the pod. I'm not the king, but I'm like the prince of the pod.
I was thinking that, like, but the queen has the better powers. I'd rather be the queen.
Yeah, of course. But you already, I mean, I think you've made it very clear that you're the king.
But I didn't want to be a chess king. That's not what I meant. He's the worst
You
piece.
don't have to.
It's like a real king, totally useless.
Well, that's true. Well, what is Mike Allen then? He's probably like a rook. Yeah, he's a rook because you can castle with the king, aka you. I'm sorry, and then you're like you like work in tandem to castle together. You move and sync because you're both named Mike. That makes a lot of sense. But like, I'll be the bishop because the bishop is still worse than the rook.
Because
it's not
you
actually
love Catholicism and like.
And because I love
we
Pope
haven't.
Leo.
We would have been so upsetting if we had done a whole podcast without mentioning religion.
Oh my God! Imagine you and I.
Imagine Mike Allen telling me one time. He called me after one of the podcasts, and he was like,
"Yeah,
this is just some dirt." And he was like, "Hey, Mike, I don't know if maybe we should just like not talk about religion on the podcast." Like, that's not gonna work. Mike. I was like, he was like,
I have to.
He took a second, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was a really dumb thing to say." And I was like, "Yeah,
that's crazy to say." Oh my God, I know. I'm thinking
let's discuss the economy of nothing and just like. Leave religion out of it.
Gloss over religion. Let's gloss over indulgences. Okay, my last comment, and then I'll wrap this puppy up, or you'll wrap it up, is that this is so far ahead, but next April Fools, we should do a podcast of just you and I, like saying, singing Ave Maria and saying, what is it? What are the beads?
The Padre. You want to pray
the Rosary. I want you and I think it should be a podcast of you and I recording the Rosary. I pray AI is advanced enough to manage that because I'm not doing that shit. Again. Have you ever done a Rosary?
Probably when I was probably around probably first communion or something like that.
Yeah. No, but also like, also confirmation. I did the Rosary even when I was older too. Anyway, I did the Rosary kind of not recently, but like within the past 10 years. It should just be like, you should be like, oh guys, the pod is up, and send it to Mike Allen, and it's just an hour of you and I doing the Rosary. Imagine
some people might call that an improvement.
I agree. Thank you, listeners.
Oh my goodness! All right, well, Ryan, thank you again for joining us. All right, the rotating chair of Ryan. Maybe he'll be back next week. We never know. Mike Allen, he's here every week, except for the weeks he's not. Everyone, this is a terrible outro. Go to theeconomyofnothing.com. It's a show that's never going to come out.
I'm doing my best, everyone. You heard me advocate for it in this very pod. I'm trying to create segments that are pertinent to the show.
All right. economyofnothing@gmail.com. Oh, my voice just cracked. economyofnothing@gmail.com, patreon.com/theeconomyofnothing, Economy of Nothing on YouTube. We're not on social media. Get off that shit.
Mike, your voice is allowed to crack on this month of all months. This is the month for your voice to crack.
Well, you know what's really funny?
Everyone become gay.
Dude,
yay!
There was a while where like our podcast tags were all like queer podcasts.
Really? That was a recommendation?
Yeah.
I mean,
probably the Sailor Moon stuff.
It's true. But facts are facts, man.
All right.